Hey everyone, I'm Nadia Munla. I'm an embodiment and intimacy coach, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about following what feels good instead of what looks good. So one of the first things that happens very often when I start to guide different people through an embodied experience is that they often are used to being in movement spaces where they have to follow certain choreography, certain steps, where they really have to focus on looking good. And Embody and a lot of different ways in which you can practice your own embodiment is actually about doing exactly the opposite of that. It's about throwing away completely this idea of trying to look good. In fact, with Embody, we often try to teach this in places where there's no mirrors for that particular reason. And I usually prompt clients and students to try to move in a space where you cannot see your own reflection. And this is for a variety of reasons, right? Essentially, it's a very revolutionary act, because what you're doing here is all the times that we were taught, in particular for women, right? But this is across the board for everyone. But in particular, women, there's this way in which we're taught we're supposed to be and the way we're supposed to do and behave. And we're not given a lot of spaces where we can actually check in, like, wait a second, what feels good to me? Do I even like this? What do I like? What are my preferences, right? And so being able to drop into a practice where you can slow down and everything is guided completely by what feels good instead of what looks good is not only a beautiful way to discover how your body wants to express and emote in a way that is now stripping you off from all, you're stripping off all these sort of shoulds and like, these are the ways it's been done in the past and this is what I think it should look like, both on a movement level, but also you're essentially saying fuck you to the way that you were taught to do things, right? So whether it's messages from the patriarchy, whether it's like religious institutions, whether it's, all those Cosmo magazines that we grew up reading, whatever it might be, there's all these different messages about like what it means to be a woman, what it means to be feminine, what it means to be sensual or sexy, what it means to be powerful, and the list goes on. There's so many layered messages, which is why we move through different archetypes and energies in an embodied class. But essentially, the idea is you're saying, no, I will not wear the costume that was given to me. I will not, abide by your rules. I'm going to create my own. And one of the ways in which you do that is follow what feels good instead of what looks good. And the way that then will spill out into every area of your life, right? It's not just about the movement practice, but how often do we find ourselves not even sure, what is my preference at work? We've been so used to just following like the orders of our boss, or actually, if I really could have it any way, like what would the ideal like play-by-play of like physical intimacy look like for me, for example, right? Or if I truly, truly wouldn't get shamed or judged by a single other human, what would I actually put on today, right? If anything, right? Like, these are the things that often there isn't space for our preferences or for the exploration of our preferences, because there's always someone else's opinion that's sort of thrown in the mix. And so movement is such a beautiful way to explore, hold on, what is my body's preference? How does she want to move? What actually feels good? Sometimes the thing that feels the best looks the goofiest and looks the messiest, might, from the outside seem like something, like horrible. Like I might look at someone else moving and be like, oh God, that does not seem like something fun, but they might be having the best time of their lives doing it. So my invitation to you essentially is to put on any song at any time and try this out. Go, okay, what would happen if for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, for an hour, I only did the movements that felt good. I only put on songs that felt good. I only breathed the way that I wanted to breathe. Maybe it's a very slow breath. Maybe it's a faster breath. I only wanted to stretch this part of my body or this part of my body, and I didn't really want to deal with the rest. So you get to do you. So for a moment there, you are giving yourself space to truly let your body lead and your own preferences lead. So let me know how that all goes. I'd love to hear.